Hi guys, welcome to the most recent edition of Miss M Helps You Review for your AP Art History test. So it's test 8, we only have 2 more to go and then the big one. We will do a cumulative review test, but it won't be graded, it will be more to help you figure out what you need to focus on during the review. So I know these are actually from Unit 7, so this will benefit people that take the time to watch the video because no questions about Spanish colonial art made it on the last test. So I did want to cover it at some point on the exam, so you're welcome to use these flashcards if they help you. For this piece, you need to know where do we see a lot of European influence in the formal qualities. So not the content, but the formal qualities, line, shape, color, composition, the way the human figure is depicted, shading, lighting, things like that. Well, shading and lighting are kind of similar. So what influences do we see in the formal qualities of this work? All right, this one, Version of Guadalupe, you guys should know, well, actually both for this one and for the Siege of Belgrade screen and the hunting scene, where are we seeing the Asian influences in both of these pieces, right, in New Spain? Where are we seeing that they're trading with Asia in this piece? Okay, for this one, you need to know, again, where are we kind of seeing that cross-cultural connection, and this one was a little trickier because the clothing might seem very European, especially on the Caucasian man, but on the native woman, right, her textiles, the pattern on her on her clothing would be more indigenous patterns there, and I'm not sure if I covered that in both classes. This one, Sorowana Inez. For this one, you are going to need to know what is the artist trying to say about her, and what symbols does he use to try and communicate a certain idea about this woman. All right. This one, you should know when we see a painting that looks like this, who the artist is. And again, I'm pulling from Unit 7. But you should be able to tell based on the quality of light, the color palette, and in general, when you see kind of a person next to a window like that and the composition, who's the painter? You should definitely be able to tell who the painter is here. Okay, you should know, because this also appears in the photograph of this matter, the still life, what's a vanitas? And I put it right there. So what are vanitas paintings symbolic of? This one might have elements of Christianity with the wheat and the grapes, but overall, what are they symbols for? What bigger themes are there? All right, oops. It's a reminder for me to look at my calendar for something for my mom. Anyways, Versailles, just know who the architects are, right? We all know Louis XIV, and well, various Louis live there, but who's the architect of this giant palace, former hunting lodge? And it says right there. Okay, Rococo art, you need to know what are common characteristics of Rococo art, both the content, what themes are being explored, as well as what formal elements are being explored or are consistent with Rococo art. And you can see that in both Escape to Cythera on the left, as well as The Swing by Fragonard on the right. All right, you should know Joseph Wright of Derby, what his paintings are influenced by, what sort of intellectual ideas or movement is seen in the works of Joseph Wright of Derby, right? As they look at the orrery, that model of the solar system, what major sort of intellectual movement is he being influenced by? All right, Monticello, so we're transitioning into neoclassicism here. So even though it's neoclassical in many of its features, as you can see, as being influenced by Palladio's Villa Rotunda, which of course is influenced by the Pantheon in Rome, originally by Hadrian and then Marcus Agrippa. I gotta review that but it was made of local materials. So this bricks were made from clay on the property. A lot of the wood in the interior was made from things on the land. As much was made from the property or very close by as possible. And I don't think I covered that in the course. So that one I'll probably be a little bit more generous on with the curve, depending on how you guys perform on it. So, speaking of founding fathers, George Washington by the French artist Jean-Antoine Houdin, you need to know a lot of the symbolism in this piece, especially the faces. My pronunciation, I apologize. But what do those rods, those bound rods, especially symbolize in this portrait of George Washington? All right, still neoclassicism. These past pieces were neoclassicism in America, obviously, but neoclassicism in France with Jacques-Louis David. Let me review here. How do we know what characteristics are common to neoclassical painting? Especially look at the brushwork of Jacques-Louis David, which with his protege and student, Jean-Auguste Dominique Angres. Let's see what question about this. Where is he getting inspiration from? Where is Angres being inspired? There's different things. One thing you might not know that I didn't cover in class is that he's using the way Raphael painted faces. He's being influenced by sort of that exoticism of the Middle East, right? And what is Oriental and what is Eastern to Westerners, or, to the French. And, of course, that distortion of the body. He's being influenced by what movement distorts the body. All right, this one would be very, very important to review if you would like to perform well on the essay. So it would behoove you, I'm using it properly, to review this piece, review Goya, review the formal characteristics that really help communicate that message about war. What is Goya saying about war? And how does he create a strong statement about it? What's his intention in creating this work? Okay. Liberty Leading the People, you need to know what event is it commemorating. Remember, that was on the Kahoot quiz. And back to still life, you need to know, even though this is a photograph, and there are many, many different kinds of photographs, there are silver gelatin prints, there are calotypes, there are tintypes, there are albumin prints, there are salt prints. This is a daguerreotype, right? Daguerre, right? Very modest, named it after himself. He made daguerreotypes. So you need to know that. You need to know what movement this belongs to. Remember, here's my cringy statement. First things first. Okay, so you need to know what movement this is a part of and what formal qualities and what content makes it that movement. Okay, so the themes are related to the writings of Karl Marx, right, who really advocated for the common person, the laborer. I don't think we reviewed that in class, so again, I'll probably be pretty generous in the grading on that particular question. The writings of Marx, the one who, sort of the father of modern communism. And it was this particular painting, remember, it was surprising for its subject matter, but also the scale. It was a huge canvas, and so it's kind of monumentalizing or aggrandizing these common working class folk. Okay. All right, one of my favorites there, of course. So where is Manet getting influence from? Of course, we see like this Venetian Renaissance painting of Titian's Venus of Urbino being very influential here. And what is Manet doing that's sort of innovative, especially with his lighting? Okay, look at the where is the light source coming from, and then where do we see shadows here? And why did the public find this very objectionable? Why were they so scandalized by this painting? And one of the students in their notes, they had a great comment that it's really about sort of like breaking that fourth wall, that term we might use in film or TV, where we're acknowledging that the audience is there. Or theater. Isn't that also a theater term? Okay, Impressionism, you need to know about what Impressionists were very concerned about, right? It's about how light and atmosphere are perceived and how there's that play. It's not really about the solid forms. It's not really about line work. It's really about capturing that impression of the light and the atmosphere. Okay, Hudson River School, which is confusing because this is a painting of the Connecticut River at a place called the Oxbow, but you guys should nail this question because you guys did awesome on it in class. What sort of political movement or ideas are being expressed in this painting that go along with U.S. history? How does it really represent that American identity here? Okay, and in this one, you need to know for Turner, especially for the sublime, that idea that something is both awesome, it's very powerful, not awesome like great, but really inspires awe, and it's terrifying, that the power of nature is so terrifying. And where do we also see that theme in another required work, where, the figures are very small, they're being overpowered by these natural forces? We, of course, see that in this required work. So it would be important to remember the title of that piece and who the artist is of that piece. Okay, I know we went over these in a different order in class. I'm going a little bit more chronologically here for the review. So why did, let me try and find the question here so I make sure I'm reviewing it properly for you guys. Why did, when the Houses of Parliament burned down, why did they decide to rebuild it in this particular style? So it would be important to know the style of this architecture and why was it selected to represent this very public face of England, of Britain? Okay, the Bergers of Calais by Rodin. So remember, he was commissioned by the town of Calais to depict a particular event. So you need to know the story of the event and what conflict it was a part of. So remember that it is city elders. And I don't think I reviewed it in class, and this is my fault, so I'll give it to you this time. They offered themselves during the 100 Years' War, so that's the conflict between France and England. So this is when England was holding the town of Calais under siege, and so they had to offer themselves up. But I recommend reviewing skimming the Smart History article to review the whole story. So the patrons of the town of Calais really wanted to heroicize them, think neoclassicism. But instead, Rodin, made them sort of downtrodden and beaten and reacting to their fate in different ways. But they responded to Rodin because he didn't make them look as heroic as they wanted to. Rodin wanted them at the ground level, right? So they're kind of life size. The viewer relates to them a little bit more. They seem like they're literally walking among us, but the town chose to put them on this elevated platform to use that sort of hierarchy of scale or to raise them up. So the viewer, unless you're jumping on it, would be forced to kind of literally look up to them. Okay. The painting originally titled Despair, right? Of course, we all know it as The Scream, right? We know the Scream mask, which is based off of this. Edvard Munch is interested in what? He's really interested in that psychological state of angst and despair and of stress in the world, and know what formal qualities really help express that feeling. Okay, so we're in post-impressionism now. Another post-impressionist, of course, is Van Gogh. We'll just call him that. And both he and Mary Cassatt are being very influenced by what kind of artwork that they're seeing a lot of. Of course, Japanese printmaking, right? So Cassatt, she hung with the Impressionists. I know that time-wise, I'm confusing you a little bit, but she was friends with Degas. And I realized, even though I misspoke in class, I thought Degas was on the required works because he's such a sort of big name in art history, but I guess they decided there were too many Impressionists. But what makes Cassatt different in the way she treats treats the female form in her works, or what kinds of scenes does Cassatt tend to show? So it might be helpful to you to just Google Cassatt's name and just kind of refresh yourself on some of her other works, because this really isn't one of her better known works. Really, she's more known for her Impressionist paintings. So it's interesting they chose this one, but of course they probably chose this one because it so clearly depicts the female nude in a different way and so clearly shows that influence from Japanese printmaking. All right, another post-impressionist, Gauguin. Remember that he was sort of disillusioned by Europe and Paris, and he escaped to this quote-unquote, and again, if you can see me, I'm rolling my eyes really hard, on this uncivilized or uncultured world. First he went to Tahiti and French Polynesia, and then he eventually went to the Marquesas Island and passed away there, where he interacted with and again, I'm doing air quotes, but you can't see it, and I'm rolling my eyes, the primitive natives. All right. Okay, so what major technological innovation made buildings with this much elevation and this much glass possible? Because remember, the glass isn't going to support all the weight of the building. But the Carson Peary Scott building, now in Chicago, and if it's now at Target, what technological innovation made skyscrapers possible as we see increased urbanization in the modern era? Okay. Gustav Klimt. So note the use of gold here. He's also a post-impressionist or the fin de siècle artist. But his use of gold is kind of harkening back to what other art that we studied, especially that sort of religious icon art. What culture did that come from where they used the gold, either they would sandwich the gold in between the glass pieces and make glass mosaics, or they also would use them in their paintings of Christ and child, Madonna and child. So know what movement that relates to. Okay, is there not another slide here? Did I cover everything? Yeah. Oh, wow, that's it. Okay, guys. Hope I really tried to get this on Saturday, so that you guys could review. Because I totally know you guys are just spending a great Saturday night reviewing for the test. Email me if anything was unclear. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. But I'm really focusing on getting your essays, your museum papers back to you. My goal is to get those done this weekend. So I'm all caught up. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.